All right, big news this week, fellas. Fellow Apple watchers, big news this week.
Yes, of course. It happened.
Tim Cook has stepped down, and
we're sorry, Tim.
Well, he didn't step down. He just stepped aside because he's going to be the chairman of Apple.
That's right. His office is going to remain down the hall from John Ternus, who's taking over.
Yes. What do you guys think? You think that's a good choice?
I don't know, Rony.
It's a commitment to hardware.
It's a commitment to hardware. It's a commitment to their core,
to what they're good at.
Yeah, yeah.
And look, Tim, you have to give him a lot of credit, even though we had that fun thing at South by. So we apologize, Tim, but not completely. We won't go there with it. You know,
he's an avid listener.
Pro.
Yes, he's an avid. I wonder if he's ever listened. I bet you he has.
No, he probably. But we look, taking over from Steve Jobs was really rough.
Yeah.
And he has done extremely well growing and scaling Apple.
Absolutely.
And, being highly respectful to Steve's legacy. So you got to if you look backwards, he's done an insanely good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you can't say anything negative.
The thing I want to know is, does John have his Johnny Ive? Does John have his guy, his compatriot?
Sam Altman has Johnny Ive.
I know Sam Altman has the Johnny Ive. But does John Ternus have his version of that, the guy that he can work with to build the most amazing machines of the next generation?
I knew his boss, Dan Riccio.
Okay.
And, really smart guys. They grew up in the culture of Steve, and I think he came up right underneath them.
Right.
My guess is if you've been in Apple as long as he has, you understand the importance of design.
He's got his guys.
But here's the thing. There's do you know the importance of design, or do you have your Keith Richards to the Mick Jagger?
Your imprint on it. Yeah.
And I think it's too high of a bar to think that, Steve Jobs, Johnny Ives is like Paul McCartney, John Lennon. It's almost too hard to think that, but I think respect for design is going to be there.
Right.
But will he have that Lennon, McCartney, Richards, Jagger kind of thing?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Will someone emerge as his guy?
And if you're an Apple shareholder, you have to love Tim because he's quadrupled the stock in the past 10 years.
Absolutely. I'm very happy with Tim Cook. And by the way, I am very, very excited and intrigued about the folding iPhone. I feel like it's going to be a breakthrough product. I know that Samsung has already done it and Google's already done it, but in kind of a clunky way. And I really, in my heart of hearts, I hope Apple sticks the landing on this and it becomes this totally aspirational and perfect device that everybody wants.
It is the obvious bridge between the phone and the pad.
Yeah.
And I would say to you, my wife doesn't listen to the show, so I'll use her as an example. But I see her on the couch playing her word games on her phone and stuff.
Yeah.
And she would enjoy it much more if her phone was twice as big.
Give her a little bit more real estate to work with.
Yeah. And her eyesight ain't getting better, but on a phone you can't really enlarge things. But on a pad you can. I think that just using that sort of focus group of one, I think this product could be a big breakthrough for them.
I do too. I think it could push Apple's valuation up another $500 billion. That's my prediction.
But I think the big game here at play, and this is why it's so interesting that a hardware guy is now going to be running Apple, is wearable AI.
Mm.
I mean, that's it's more than just Johnny Ive. It's a conceptual
I'm wearing
change.
the form factor, guys.
He's wearing the prototype.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the form factor.
That's what we need.
I've got my Meta Oakleys right here. I was wearing them yesterday.
Yeah.
And I got to say, Meta was so smart to partner with Luxottica. It just, their glasses just feel good.
Right.
And they're selling them in eyeglass stores where frames are easily nice frames, $800, $1,000, and they're $400 and you get AI.
Okay. Let me just make a comment. I think everyone in the field reached out to partner with Luxottica, including us. Everyone, starting in 2010.
Yeah.
And if you met the Luxottica guys, they know their capper position, Ray-Ban, Oakley, all these classic brands. They know they're good.
And they're Italian.
and you know what? And they know how to hold out for someone who's going to write a really big check.
Yeah.
So I think the instinct is good. But I would say every single player who invested any real money into the space was like, do it. Mm-hmm. But of course, you have to be willing to write a check big enough. Look, Apple's not going to do that, but Apple is coming out with something. And my guess is they've hired very talented eyewear designers who are probably the upper echelon of Luxottica type designers and even like the next echelon above, like the super premium.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see, if you look across Luxottica, the very best brands, the most elegant, those designers have been poached at Apple. And I think you're going to see something like that happening.
Yeah,
like
exactly right.
you know, and that's if you have Apple's money, you can go get those great people. That's what you build a McLaren if you can't buy Ferrari.
Right. Exactly right.
But the instinct to go work with Ferrari, yes, of course.
Strong. Yeah.